called Small Business Saturday and a chance to help promote local businesses.
I love Small Business Saturday. I think the advertising of Small Business Saturday allows me to reach out farther than our community, to come here, spend the day on Ventura Boulevard, and shop locally.
Among the Angelenos coming out to promote Small Business Saturday was our very own Mayor Eric Garcetti, who dropped by in Studio City.
When it's a local owner, more of that, the revenue is going to come here locally. So when you spend locally, it has a recycling effect. That dollar may be recycled 4 or 5 times more because the local owner will spend that money in his or her own neighborhood again and again and again.
The concept was first celebrated in 2010 and conceived by American Express to promote shopping at all small local businesses. And for niche shops like the Amoeba Music Store in Hollywood, it's a much-needed day to keep the business running.
This business is thriving purely on an independent level. It doesn't even exist on a corporate big box level anymore. So we're what's left for a reason. We're the ones who are doing it right all along.
It's really important, especially a place like this. There's not too many left. It's like the only place you can come that's a treasure trove of music.
And small businesses aren't just limited to the stores.
You can also support small businesses by having a meal at a local mom and pop restaurant after a day of shopping locally.
Shopping on Small Business Saturday helps create jobs, boost the economy, and preserves neighborhoods. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
And speaking of supporting small businesses, that's what a new business center in South LA is doing. Yana Kay tells us how both job seekers and small business owners are benefiting from this new resource.
These South Los Angeles community members don't have to go very far to get information on business services, thanks to the opening of a new business resource center in the 9th District. The center is a collaboration between large corporations, small businesses, nonprofits, and other community-based organizations.
We're talking about delivering services for those who are looking for jobs, for those who want to create jobs, those who want to expand their businesses.
Some of those services include providing technical assistance, how to write a business and marketing plan, and expert advice on how to expand a business.
I believe that it will really help the businesses to thrive and to grow, and the new ones to come alive, and it will help improve our community.
A ribbon cutting was held to welcome the new center. Community leaders say it's been a long time coming.
Something that's been desperately needed for a long period of time, a focus down here in the community where people in the community can stay in their comfort zone and still get the resources that they need.
Resources that officials hope will not only benefit business owners, but the community as well. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
The LAPD is getting into the holiday spirit with fundraising events and donation drives benefiting charities, but it's also offering advice to deter crime this holiday season. We take a look in This Week in Tweets. LAPD HQ retweeted this flyer publicizing LAPD Olympic Area's Operation Shoes from Santa on Friday, December 12th at 6 p.m. at the Olympic Station on South Vermont Avenue. Those interested are asked to donate a new pair of shoes for underprivileged school-age children. Kids are also invited to play in real snow, enjoy hot chocolate, and visit with Santa and his elves. Meanwhile, the LAPD Pacific Division posted this warning video reminding you that criminals are on the prowl this holiday season. The video offers simple advice like remembering to always lock your car door and to never leave your valuable possessions in plain view. Tips that could be the difference between a Merry Christmas and one that's stolen by the Grinch. One local business that's become a landmark of sorts celebrates a milestone. Rasha Goel has more on how a local hot dog stand became a must-eat Los Angeles destination.
This line isn't just any line. It's the line to get into Pink's Hot Dogs, located on the corner of La Brea and Melrose Avenue. The family-owned hot dog stand has been a Hollywood legend since 1939, and 75 years later, people still can't get enough. Pedro Varela and his family are the first in line and have been waiting for 3 hours to get in as the popular joint celebrates its 75th anniversary.
It's worth the 3-hour wait.
Pink's Hot Dogs celebrated their anniversary with a special treat for the community.
We're selling chili dogs for charity tonight for 75 cents for 75 minutes for 7 days. and we're giving back to the community who we are so happy to have been serving all these 75 years since the day my parents opened Pink's in 1939 with a little push cart.
That push cart has since grown and has also become a favorite eatery for celebrities whose pictures are highlighted on a wall.
They've been the greatest hot dog stand, not just in Los Angeles, not in Hollywood, not just in California, not just in the United States, but the world.
Back when I was new to Los Angeles and new to Hollywood, Pink's was kind of a home away from home, and I could afford a hot dog back then, and it was great.
Who would have thought hot dogs would have helped in creating a legacy? I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
Pink's Hot Dogs donated 100% of the gross proceeds to a different charity on each of the 7 nights. Students interested in a career in music got a chance to learn the craft at one of the most recognized places that celebrates music, the Grammy Museum. Rasha Goel tells us about a unique program taking students behind the scenes.
For today, these students are the celebrities in this room. But who's to say, among them might be the next shining star of the music industry. Thanks to a music education program offered by the Grammy Museum and Council District 1, these students got a hands-on experience in making music.
After 6 weeks, we have about 25 to 30 young men and women who, for the first time, are learning how you put together a CD, an album, music.
Isabel Espino is among the students showcasing her final performance. She says it's like a graduation and has been a valuable experience.
It was worth it because not only did I learn more about myself and my music, but I met a bunch of new people.
Students also perform a song they wrote that tells their story.
It's just a lie. I can't deny that the fact that every time you tell me that, I want to cry.
I get a little nervous with the kids, but, it's more excitement and anticipation and just seeing everything come together.
After spending 6 Saturday mornings together, they are ready to rock and roll with the knowledge and training they have received. It might be a final performance for today, but for some, it's just the beginning of a musical dream. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
Holiday on Ice returns downtown. Residents prepare their properties for the rainy season and a new farmers market along the San Pedro Harbor. These stories in City Beat. Pershing Square is once again the place to be this holiday season as it celebrates the 17th season of its Downtown on Ice holiday rink. The outdoor rink surrounded by downtown skyscrapers opened mid-November and will stay open through January 19th. Pershing Square is located at 532 South Olive Street. Admission is $9. Skates are $3 to rent. In addition to public skating, there are also designated special events like Single in the City and Family Fun Day. Go to holidayicerink.downtownla.com for further details and hours. The Los Angeles area is periodically subject to floods that result in property damage. So prior to the recent rainstorm in the first week of the month, the Los Angeles Fire Department made sand available at several fire stations and convenient community locations. Residents, especially those in foothill and low-lying communities, were encouraged to prepare their properties in advance of rainstorms by securing the perimeter of their property with sandbags to prevent flooding, as well as removing debris to prevent it from entering the storm drain system. Starting November, the San Pedro Harbor became home to a new certified farmers market from Enriched Farms that opens shop every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. The market on 6th and Harbor Boulevard carries all organic produce. Councilmember Joe Buscaino even stopped by during the market's opening day to lend his support for harbor area businesses.
While you're here visiting us, enjoy the LA waterfront, visit our shops and restaurants in our historic downtown San Pedro area.
I think it's nice, it's small, and I think it's going to be something that grows. It's nice having something on the weekend for people to go to and buy fresh produce.
The market is just one more piece of the puzzle in making the San Pedro Harbor a destination for tourists and locals alike. It's It's a $56 million project that was 10 years in the making. Now completed, the new Discovery Cube at Hansen Dam will open up a new future and new scientific vistas for many kids in the valley and beyond. Here's Anna Marcos.
Pumps of all kinds, pumped by kids themselves, help set off the fireworks and the confetti. That got the gears rolling for the grand opening of the biggest science center in the nation, the Discovery Cube at Hansen Dam.
We know the mission that we want to accomplish with our youth, to stimulate their ability to want to come and learn about science, technology, engineering, mathematics. That is something that we've got to do to be competitive.
Carl Sagan said, "Every child starts out a natural-born scientist, and only a few trickle through with their wonder and enthusiasm of science intact."
But now, Discovery Cube fans want to keep that childlike enthusiasm and wonder for science alive. Inside, about a dozen state-of-the-art, kid-friendly exhibits to help kids rediscover their passion for science, conservation, and more.
For all of us, the real reward is the smiling faces of the children we have seen go through the cube, and to know that they are learning and having fun at the same time.
There's a kaleidoscope of exhibits. Behind me, children can take helicopter tours following the 300-mile journey of our LA Aqueduct. And this colorful thing over here is the Aquavator. You can actually get submerged down into LA's aquifer, our underground water source.
The formation of tornadoes, the workings of pulleys, wheels, and turbines, the excavating for long-lost dinosaurs. Everything, even the rock-climbing wall, provided a lesson of some sort.
It teaches me that if you can do it, just keep on trying until you can.
As for the Zero Waste exhibit, where kids learn to recycle trash, let's see what lesson was learned.
Well, taking out the trash is a big responsibility.
All in all, a multifaceted learning experience for tomorrow's budding scientists and engineers. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
For more information on the museum, visit discoverycube.org. In this week's list of things to do, it's all about the holidays, a holiday outdoor movie screening, a holiday concert at UCLA, and Los Angeles Ballet's The Nutcracker. In the month of December, the Port of Los Angeles is hosting Holidays by the Sea, a series of free and festive weekend holiday events on the LA waterfront. The downtown harbor is located at 6th Street and Harbor Boulevard in San Pedro. Visitors are invited to witness the holiday sale spectacular and light show in the evenings, which turns the public town square outside the Los Angeles Maritime Museum into an outdoor theater venue with holiday movies projected right onto a ship's sail. The holiday film showing from Friday, December 12th through Sunday, December 14th from 7 to 9 p.m. will be Jack Frost. Event dates are subject to cancellation due to inclement weather. For more information, visit lawaterfront.org. And it seems everyone is getting into the spirit of the holidays. UCLA is presenting the UCLA Choral Holiday Concert on Saturday, December 13th at 8 p.m. at Schoenberg Hall, 240 Charles E. Young Drive North on the Northeast Campus, right off of Hillgard Avenue. The concert will feature a holiday repertoire sung by UCLA chorale and chamber singers with instrumentalists, with conductor Leslie Layton. More details can be found at arts.ucla.edu/calendar. And a classic holiday event is the Los Angeles Ballet's performance of The Nutcracker. This essential holiday tradition is one for the whole family. Join Clara and her beloved Nutcracker as she travels to the land of snow and to the Palace of the Dolls, where all of her favorite doll companions come to life. You can catch a matinee showing at 1 p.m. or a 5 p.m. showing on both Saturday and Sunday, December 13th and 14th, at the Dolby Theater at 6801 Hollywood Boulevard in Hollywood. Go to losangelesballet.org. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do. From homemaker to career woman, a new exhibit showcases the evolving careers women had after World War II. Rasha Goel has more.
I darn near fainted. I came in here and I always look at the exhibits first. And I saw her with her hand in that position. I said, I know this person. Who is it? Who is it? I looked at the name. It was my 8th grade English teacher.
Eileen Seaver, a librarian at the Los Angeles Central Library, is referring to an exhibit that is currently on display in the History and Genealogy Department on Lower Level 4. These are images of women who represent their unique identities. The librarian who handles photo collections tells me how the exhibit titled Defining Their Identity, The Changing Roles of Women in the Post-War is more than just a compilation of photographs on a wall.
These women were true groundbreakers. They were brave, they were inspired, and they were strong, and they were an inspiration to women all over the country and all over the world.
31 women are featured in this exhibit, and these photos relay their stories. They were pioneers of the post-war era, at a time when women were expected to be homemakers or pursue traditional careers. But these women were the stars of the San Fernando Valley.
Valley women were architects, they were surgeons, stockbrokers. There was even a woman who was a spy for the FBI.
These photographs are from the archives of the Valley Times newspaper, which was published out of North Hollywood from 1946 to 1970. The Valley Times documented the entire San Fernando Valley, a region that had come to exemplify the post-war suburban growth that took place throughout the country.
The San Fernando Valley was, in a way, kind of a prototype of suburbia for the nation.
The women featured in this exhibit may not have been world-renowned, but for the City of Angels, they were role models who have left their legacy and continue to inspire.
Wow, that's amazing. Maybe someday my picture will be up on the wall here.
In Los Angeles, I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
The exhibit will be on display at the LA Central Library until January. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you could catch us online at lacityview.org. Our Twitter handle is @LATW35. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Don't hurt me this way. Don't touch me this way.
When a physical encounter occurs between man and machine, the machine always wins. Please, don't lose. Obey all the rules of the road.
Don't let me make the same mistake again.
Don't worry, Patty. This isn't going to hurt me one bit. Hi, I'm Dr. Eric Shapiro in beautiful Encino, and you're watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city, our channel.
Good morning. Want to welcome you to your Los Angeles City Council meeting. Today is Wednesday, December 10th. We do not have a quorum, but we will proceed with the presentation portion of today's agenda. So with that said, if I could defer to Mr. Huizar at this point in time. Mr. Huizar, the floor is yours.
Where is
Michelle?
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. And colleagues, why don't you guys step on up? Step on up. We have here with us today the Mershane family. And we actually have a special individual with us who does not know that we were going to talk about his good works. He was brought here under the pretense that his daughter was going to receive a recognition. But it was the only way we could get this very shy individual into the council chambers. And we are here today to honor an individual who has devoted and given his time to a little small park, probably one of the smallest parks in the east side of the city, a park called State Park. And he has been there as a young boy and has volunteered his time, put in countless hours to support our young people, not only as a coach, but as a volunteer. And even when our young people need money for their uniforms, he has found ways to provide for those young people in need. And I want to welcome to our council chambers a true hero who has made a difference in the lives of countless young people, Sal Mershane. Welcome to these council chambers, Sal. If Sal looks, he's a little surprised, as I said, because we brought him here under different pretenses. But his family and our community love Sal. Sal was born and raised in Boa Heights and has been the driving force at State Street Park, volunteering his time, as I mentioned, mentoring and coaching many of our youth. He has been visiting the park since he was 12 years old. He would go there with family and have picnics or play football and go into the old wading pool. As he got older, he became a volunteer coach, and since then the park could not get rid of him. The park did the next best thing when you can't get rid of someone, so they hired him. And I tell you that it was the best thing that State Street Park could have done. Sal has been a constant presence at the park, volunteering countless hours and coaching. He's coached softball, basketball, soccer, and every sport offered at the park. His commitment to the park and the kids that visit the park has no end. When they asked him to coach soccer, he didn't know a lick about soccer. So what did he do? He said yes, and he went out and bought the book, Soccer for Dummies. If some of the local kids couldn't afford sports fees or uniforms, Sal would pay for them out of his own pocket. That's just the type of guy Sal is, and that's why we're here today, recognizing him for his work. He grew up at State Street Park, as I mentioned, spends a lot of time there, but really the effects and product of his work is not at State Street Park. It goes on with the thousands of children who go on knowing that there are people in the neighborhood that care about them. It goes on beyond the physical park to families who feel safe at the park by having Sal there, who could talk about what it means to have the support that Sal has given them. So Sal, on behalf of the City of Los Angeles, on behalf of Council District 14, and on behalf of the Boa Heights community, we want to thank you for all your service to State Street Park, for the young people you have mentored, for the young people you have given advice to, and all those lonely hours in the park, picking up after everyone else and doing what you had to do to care about this beautiful treasure in our community. It hasn't been forgotten and hasn't gone unseen. Thank you so much, Sal.
Give him a round of applause.
Well, I really appreciate it from Mr. Weezard, and I've been at the park quite a bit. I'm 68 years old, and I'm still coaching there, and I guess I'm going to die there. And I'm on dialysis, and I still go out there and do it with the kids. I've been doing it for a while. So, see your kids over there one day. Thank you.
All right. Can you follow him?
Again, congratulations. I do believe that we have a quorum. If you could please call the roll, Mr. Clerk.
Blumenfield, Bono, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Huizar, Carrasco, Correa, Labonte, Martinez, Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson, 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Martinez moves, O'Farrell seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Huizar moves, Englander seconds. That brings us where?
Mr. President, if I may, the hearing on the ordinance approving a resolution of necessity to acquire 93 parcels of property in Kern and Los Angeles counties for the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power's Barren Ridge Renewables Transmission Project, for which written notices were sent to the affected property owners, will not be heard in council today. The hearing on this matter will be continued to the special meeting of the City Council on this Friday, December 12th, at 10:15 a.m. in these Los Angeles City Council chambers. If there are property owners present today who cannot attend the hearing on Friday, December 12th, but wish to be heard on this matter, they may state their comments during the public testimony period toward the end of this meeting.
Thank you. Okay, let's go through the agenda.
Very good, sir. Items 1 through 6 are items noticed for public hearing.
Okay, do we have cards?
Yes, sir, on items 1 and 6.
Let's hold those items and prepare to vote on the remaining items. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, that brings us where?
Items 7 through 28, they're items for which public hearings have been held. It should be noted that committee reports for items 9, 27, and 28 have been circulated, and a corrected committee report for item 25 has been circulated.
Okay.
Further, please note that the committee reports for items 28 have differing contract lengths, and a motion is required.
So why don't we hold that item? And members, Mr. O'Farrell?
Mr. President, item 10, special.
10 for Mr. O'Farrell. Any other, Mr. Buscaino?
Item 12, please.
12 for Joey B. Members, I don't see any. Let's prepare to vote on the remaining items. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That brings us where?
Mr. President, before moving on, let me state that the ordinances, items 7 and 8, will go over for a second read unless reconsidered later this meeting for 12 members.
Thank you. And when we get to that point, if we do, please remind me, and we will quickly make that adjustment. So that brings us where?
Items 29 through 35, there are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. Do we have cards?
Yes, sir, we do. We have cards on items 32, 33, 34, and 35.
Okay, let's hold those items and prepare to vote on the remaining items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Let's move on to the next section on the agenda.
Mr. President, that brings us to the items scheduled for closed sessions. Items 36 through 39, would you like to hold them on the desk?
Why don't we hold them until I have an opportunity to chat with the Chair of Budget and Finance. You know, by my notice, Mr. Clerk, we do have 12 members, so why don't you highlight the items that we need to vote on reconsideration, and let's do that?
Yes, sir. Those would be items 7 and 8.
Okay, so we're voting on reconsideration on 7 and 8. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Now we'll actually vote on the items. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Mr. O'Farrell, it's my understanding that comfort levels on item 36 have been elevated. Is that and we can vote on that item? Is there?
Yes, it was. Should be consent.
So we'll continue to hold it. Okay, let's take up a couple of items before we go into our next presentation. We'll start out with item 32. I'm sorry, Mr. Herman. Item 32.
Sir, you still have this illegal rope.
Item 32. If you want to speak on it, please come and speak on
Just
it.
remind you of the violation and you're breaking the law. Thank you, sir. That due to the presentation for Wonder Woman, all of you in Los Angeles know who Wonder Woman is and was. And it's good to see that finally Mr. Englander is acknowledging another woman.
What?
This is item 32?
Yeah,
Item
this
32,
item
sir.
stated, item 32. Stay on the subject.
Relative to the Council District 11 executing license agreement with the Hercules Campus LLC in order to present Wonder Woman Tech beginning February 27th. So, yes, I am on topic, and the two councilmen are finally acknowledging women. Unbelievable.
That has nothing to just...
So within my 1 minute of time, I'm going to hold my last 6 seconds to you. Thank you.
Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, that passes. Mr. Sachs, we're going to move to item 33, called special by Mr. Sachs and Mr. Walsh.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Arnold Sachs. And item 33 is Sunshine Canyon Landfill. Schools near Sunshine Canyon Landfill. And it was really interesting in yesterday's board meeting with the two new supervisors. I made a little presentation. I know they're being brought up to speed, and I mentioned to them how the county does its math at Sunshine Canyon Landfill and the funding here from that's going to be appropriated from the Communities Amenities Trust Fund. So I mentioned to them that back in 2006, the County Board of Supervisors had an item on their agenda regarding the enhancement of the Sunshine Canyon landfill, where they were going to double the amount of intake from 6,000 tons a day to 12,100 tons a day, from 36,000 tons a week to 66,000 tons a week. And Supervisor Molina happened to pipe up and say, well, the math is wrong. It's wrong. It should be 72.6. So what happened to the 6,600 tons? And it was explained that that was fill that was put on the trash so it wouldn't blow around. So that if that makes sense, then why is 6 times 6 36? Why weren't they putting fill on the 6,000 tons per day that they were getting? Nevertheless, you're missing funding there from trash trucks that are delivering trash, 6,600 tons a week. That's over 300 trucks a week going to that community. And I believe when you did the franchising, Mr. Englander was concerned, I believe, about the trucks traveling on the roads carrying all this excess weight. Yet here's over 300 trucks that aren't being counted. And we hear so much about fiscal proprietary.
Thank
What's
you.
up with that?
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. Well, what number 33 says is that these 11 schools will each get $50,000 to alleviate some of the negative impacts of in the air near these schools. Granada Hills, Robert Forest, Tulsa Street. Well, as you know, I was for a quarter of a century a teacher at LAUSD. Before that, Peace Corps volunteer teacher in the Imperial Elementary Schools in Haile Selassie's Addis Ababa, and also a teacher at the New York City public school system. So I'm not just one of these guys who show up but has no background, okay? I'm retired. I'm not out of work. HollywoodHighlands.org is 100% in favor of these children are at risk, as well as the teachers and others at the school, from all the crap in the air that they're going to breathe. And I don't think $50,000 a piece is anywhere near enough. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Thank you. Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
And I think, Mr. Clerk, we can receive and file. No. And so we won't deal with 36. I'm getting assistance from my attorney on this. We're going to quickly do item 35, and then Mr. Blumenfield, I'll defer to you. Mr. Walsh on item 35.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. The most important thing here for those people out here, I can't breathe, for most of those people out here, is that the final maps are the maps of that decide whether you are going to get a high-rise near you. It's the zoning maps. What they do in most of these zoning maps, of course, this one is for Ventura Boulevard, southeasterly of Sepulveda Boulevard. What they're doing is upzoning, making it I can't breathe, making it easier for making it easier for people, for developers to build high rises. At least this is in a white neighborhood. Usually, this zoning stuff happens in black neighborhoods. But when they're finished with the black neighborhoods, with the white neighborhoods, they're coming for your neighborhood. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Okay. Let's prepare to. No, in fact, I have one card on Mr. Sachs. Please come up.
Sachs, and I don't really give a toot about the zoning. I'm more concerned actually about the Quimby fees that are created by these zoning issues. Mr. Weezer just made a presentation and he discussed one of the smallest parks in the city. Why don't they get Quimby fees? Here's one Quimby fee for $1.6 million. These are funds, and if you looked at item number 10, which was passed or held by the City Council, which it mentions fees on annual expenditures plans for all council districts. Well, that would include Quimby fees. This is money that could well be directed towards the neighborhood councils because they have their feet to the fire as far as parks that could be used in the neighborhoods. It's time to start looking at some of the city ordinances that misdirect funds that go directly to the council districts, which essentially ties them up in the council office, and put more of these funds in the hands of the neighborhood councils and empower them to make decisions that's better for the neighbors in which the neighborhood in which they live. And this is a great start right here with Quimby fees. There's Quimby fees that created the Grand Avenue Park, although it's not said as Quimby fees, but it would be developed. And yet there's a park that's being built over here at First and between First and right over here, what the heck? First and Hill, that the city had to pay more money for. Why couldn't Quimby fees be used to acquire it? And why wasn't money used for the park at the police headquarters? Why does the local neighborhood have to pay for it? It's money that should be going to the neighborhood councils.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Okay, let's prepare to members vote on this item. Madam Clerk, if you'd open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That passes. Mr. Blumenfield, are you ready to proceed? The floor belongs to Mr. Blumenfield. No applause, please. No applause. You're disrupting the meeting.
No applause, but we do have some heroes up here. And today it is truly an honor to recognize the Los Angeles Fire Department and ABC 7 for their participation in the 22nd Spark of Life Toy Drive. Joining me are LA Fire Department's Chief Ralph Terrazas, Chief Graham Everett, Captain Jamie Moore, Firefighter Mike Marquez, Captain Phil Ayala, and UFLAC First Vice President Tony Gamboa. Each and every day, the LA Fire Department keeps our communities safe and secure from harm. Their bravery was ably on display just recently at the major fire. 2 large structures, over 250 firefighters came in from all parts of the city. Valley Command was helping on one end, and they came together to do what they do, which is preserve and protect. They go above and beyond the call of duty, and it's no surprise that they go above and beyond in many ways, not just when it comes to fighting fires, but to the Spark of Love Toy Drive, making a difference in children's lives during the holiday season. The Spark of Love campaign collects new unwrapped toys and sports equipment for underserved children and teens in Los Angeles, San Bernardino, Orange, Ventura, and Riverside counties. Although she couldn't be here today, I also want to give a special thanks to Teresa Sanmanego, the ABC 7 Director of Community Relations. She has been the point person for ABC 7 for the Spark of Love now for decades and does an amazing job putting this together because it really is a partnership. Also joining us today is Adi McAbian, who is the owner of the LA Exchange. Adi hosts the big LA Fire Department reception each year, bringing in hundreds and hundreds of toys for the Sparks of Love campaign program. Over the past 2 decades, the Los Angeles Fire Department has teamed up with ABC 7, local community organizations, and have delivered and collected more than 7 million toys. I didn't misspeak just now. 7 million toys over the time that they have been doing this, which is, just imagine the 7 million smiles that go along with those toys. It's really remarkable. This year, their goal is expected to exceed last year's goal of 450,000 toys. Today in Council, we have a little taste of what we've collected. We actually have a lot more, but we wanted to have a little taste here. We're going to give them in a picture afterwards. And weather permitting, this Friday, December 12th, Garth the Elf from ABC 7 and I will be at Westfield Topanga for a Stuff the Bus event that's in conjunction with all this. We're going to stuff a bus full of toys. So I invite you to bring a new unwrapped toy or sports equipment and come out and meet with Garth the Elf. He'll be here. He'll be there all day in his elf suit taking donations. From 4:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., the team will be in the parking lot at Topanga and Victory trying to stuff as many buses as possible full of toys. It's a wonderful event.
And Garth is a pretty big elf, too. So if you want to come see a big elf,
yes,
then that's the place to be.
Absolutely. Now, if you can't make it on Friday, local fire stations will be collecting toys and sporting equipment until December 24th. Not that you ever need another excuse to come by and visit your local fire station because it's always a treat to do that, but this is a great reason to do it. Earlier I mentioned the structure fires. Those fires damaged, among other things, a lot of people don't realize, city property that was housing toys collected for the Department of Aging. We now have an additional need as a result of those losses, and we're working together to help compensate for that. Again, I want to thank Chief Terrazas and the LA Fire Department, Teresa Sanmanego, who couldn't be here this morning, her team at KABC Channel 7, and Adi for their hard work and dedication to serving our communities and each and every day, and especially for supporting this annual Spark of Love Toy Drive. So let's give it up for them, and let's have a few words from
Please,
Chief
let's
Terrazas.
give it up. It's a wonderful, wonderful program.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you for the recognition, Mr. President, City Council. Thank you for having us here today. I have a special connection to this program. I've been involved with it ever since I was a community liaison officer over 11 years ago. Every year I take my family and I get to pass out toys. And what a blessing that is. I get to experience firsthand the joy we bring kids throughout the city of Los Angeles. So thank you very much for that. The LAFD started collecting and donating toys as the Toys for Needy Children program 38 years ago through the efforts of retired Chief Ray Rojo. 21 years ago, we joined forces with ABC 7 and changed the name of the program to the Spark of Love program. Last year, we collected and delivered over 120,000 toys. The toys collected at each
Let's give them a round of applause. That's a lot of toys.
Thank you.
Great work. Great work.
The toys collected at each of our 106 fire stations are redistributed throughout the city. They stay in our local community. The success of this program is due to the hard work of firefighter Mike Marquez, who's standing behind me, firefighter Ray Topete, our cadets and other volunteers who work countless hours to ensure toys are collected, sorted, and delivered throughout the city. I also want to thank the people of Los Angeles. Without their generous donations, we could not do this program. I also need to recognize ABC Channel 7. With their coverage, we're able to inform the public of this great program and gain thousands of toys. And lastly, but not least, of course, the City Council for recognizing this great program. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Blumenfield, I have a couple of members that'd like to say a word.
We have two more
I will wait for you.
All right, why don't we have our speakers, and then we'll have the members.
Fine.
So, Mike Marquez, firefighter. Mike.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Michael Marquez, and I'm the firefighter that's fortunate enough to organize this program. I've been involved with the program for a little over 22 years. I stopped for a little while. I came back 14 years ago to run it. And as the chief said, I want to make sure that 120,000 toys, that's just within City of Los Angeles. That's us alone, not to mention this is 5-county wide. And we are the largest and we are the lead agency, which means that anything that is donated to the Spark of Love program, it comes to us and we distribute it to all 5 counties. Also, as the chief said, this is a very unique program. It's run by volunteers. There's only 2 of us at Toy Central, or the North Pole as we call it. And the backbone of this is what the chief said, our cadets. And it's unique because we have volunteers from the local neighborhoods that come and they do the sorting and the bagging. These are the people that actually get these toys. These are the people from the housing projects. I have rival gang members that come and help, and they know once they pass that gate, all bets are off. Any problems, they're asked to leave. And we've had no problems the whole time they've come. I have a Crip that's been shot. I have guys from different gangs, and they all come to help. It's that unique of a program. So they do all the sorting, the bagging, and the cadets do all the delivering. I mean, this is huge. And as the chief said, we cannot survive without people like Adi, his program that donate all this money and toys, and the civilians. I mean, it's a big, big operation and a family thing. And I would just like to thank you all for your support. So thank you very much.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you, Mike. And then we also have UFLAC First Vice President Tony Gamboa.
Hey, Big Tone.
Good morning, Council President Wesson and honorable council members. My name is Tony Gamboa, and I'm the First Vice President of the United Firefighters of Los Angeles City Local 112. I'm honored to be here today on behalf of the rank and file members who partner with ABC 7 every year for the Spark of Love Toy Drive. I also want to thank Councilman Bob Blumenfield for taking the lead in recognizing our firefighters for their efforts to support families in need during this holiday season. Our firefighters are so proud to assist with the efforts to collect toys and support and sporting equipment for underserved children and teens in Los Angeles and throughout Southern California. I know ABC's goal is to exceed last year's collection of 450,000 toys before Christmas Eve. So I encourage everyone to visit their local fire station and drop off a new unwrapped toy or sporting good item. We have collection bins at each station, and with your generous donation, the Spark of Love campaign will bring joy to a child in need during this holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. And before we go to the members, I want to say one other thing, which is I said that it was going to be this Friday, weather permitting. Well, the weather gods have spoken, and it has been moved to Monday. So Monday, Garth the Elf and the whole Stuff the Bus thing is now officially on Monday, not on Friday. It's Panga Mall, and it's at 4:30 to 6:30, 4:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. So now, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And now I'd like to defer to Mr. Fuentes.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Mr. Blumenfield and Mr. Englander, for consistently reminding us how important public safety is, and in particular to sort of those non-life-threatening situations and those that are sort of poverty. And we kicked off the Spark of Love at this Fire Station 98 this year in Pacoima, and the department did a fantastic job in helping identify those families in need from Pacoima Charter Elementary School. And we had a phenomenal evening, colleagues. We had dinner with the families, we had youth and their parents there, and we had Santa. And it was a fantastic way for us to kick off, I think, this very special time of year. And so I just wanted to congratulate you all and the partnership with ABC7. This is a tradition that the department's been doing since 1975, and it's had a lot of partners on its way to sort of doing this fantastic service, and it continues to do so, and it's strengthened by, I think, great partnerships that they currently enjoy. But on a last note, I wanted to thank you, Chief Terrazas, for not just becoming the chief of this great department and having the Operation Spark of Love happen recently in my district, but you're also the Grand Marshal of our Christmas, our holiday parade this coming Saturday the 13th, colleagues, and I will go ahead and mention that to all of you when it's appropriate, but I know that you have to go to a press conference. You won't be here for that presentation, but I just wanted to thank you, Chief, for all that you're doing for the community and particularly as Grand Marshal this year. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Weezar.
Thank you. I wanted to just congratulate the efforts by our fire department to do the Spark of Love. When one thinks of collecting toys for children throughout the area, the name Spark of Love often comes up. It's probably the first name to be mentioned when there are toys needed for needy families throughout the city and throughout the county. So I want to congratulate you for that. I also want to thank Adi from the Exchange, who's here in the back. I know you've been a very huge supporter of this, and every year have an event here in downtown at your operation at the Exchange to help bring in toys. So thank you so much for the work you do. And last but not least, I wanted just to take this opportunity to thank the department for the work they did on the fire that recently swept through downtown Los Angeles at a construction site. I was told that there were few departments in this country who could have possibly attacked the fire the way this department did and prevented other structures from receiving further damage. Phenomenal work. Once again, it shows that we have the best fire department in the country. Thank you so much for the work you do.
Mr. Labange. Mr. Labange to close.
Thank you. I wanted to rise first to thank Mr. Blumenfield for bringing in the team here. I want to thank you, Flack, for always being in the community. I want to thank our special friend at the Exchange every year. You're too late for me, though. I come early and I leave early, so it's always so good. I want to echo what the great councilman of the 14th District said. The firefight the other morning was for the records. You know, it was for the records in the largest wood frame that I've ever seen in such an area, and the impact to the freeway and the public. Displacement of now employees, and I know Mr. Blumenfield yesterday in your hearing along with Mr. O'Farrell was spot on trying to relocate and all the intricacies that go and the preparedness for the storm that is coming. But I really want to thank Channel 7 because Channel 7 has a great quarterback. His name is Arnie Kleiner. He's a great Santa Claus. Arnie Kleiner, who's been there for over 20 years, he was a great friend of Dennis Zine and many of us around this horseshoe who's been in the community because Channel 7's been in the community. They may be number 7 on the dial, but they're number 1 out of their hearts. And I will tell you, Teresa Saldama, who runs the program, how many of you guys know Teresa Saldama? Raise your hand, Jamie, real high. Oh, you don't know truth. There's nobody like Teresa. She was a great graduate of Belmont High School, got her upper education, has been in the community for Channel 7 all the time. So I just wanted to salute Channel 7, the Spark of Love. Remember, number 7 on the dial, but number 1 on our hearts. Okay, thank you.
Okay, now Mr. Cedillo to close. Dual closers.
I cannot follow that, top that. Chief, I just want to say to you what I said privately on Monday morning at the mayor's conference. I just want to thank you guys. incredible. I had a different vantage point. It's in the 14th district technically, but I live right across the freeway. I live actually on the freeway, and he, not on the freeway, but my apartment sits above the freeway. And so I got a view right out my window at 105, and at first I couldn't see it from the angle where I stood, but as I moved down, I saw 20 stories high of flames. Just incredible, this inferno. And then your guys are just at work, just like they're just channeling a river on those flames, and it was just an incredible sight to see. I can't thank you enough. It's amazing how quickly you took control, and then how transformed that place is. And I was looking out the window last night, and things look back to normal. And so I just want to thank men and women of your team for the incredible work they did. Obviously, the union plays a central role in that. Everybody pulled in and stepped up, and so I just want to say thank you.
Back to you, Mr. Blumenfield.
Okay, so we're going to do 3 quick certificates. One, we've been talking about Adi and the LA Exchange. I want to call you up here, Adi, or Adi. What's the better pronunciation?
Adi.
Adi. We've all been talking about how he does so much making it happen, and as the owner of the Exchange and puts together the reception, I wanted to give you this certificate. Great. So thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Do you want to say? No.
Just,
okay.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you very much. I mean, it's just an honor to work with the fire department. I mean, the LAFD is just filled with heroes, and every year we just get to see another side of their heroism. So I just really appreciate and thank you very much, and really appreciate working with them.
All right.
Thank you.
And now, 2 things for the fire department. First, the chief, I want to give you the certificate, fire department. So if you'd accept that, and then I want to hand a little taste of what we've got going to the guys here. I think I'll even hold up. We got a puppet here of a firefighter among other toys. Take a photo. Great.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Great.
Give him another round of applause. Great job.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Great job. Labange.
Chief.
Yes, sir.
Add that to the pile.
All right.
Thank you.
There's an additional toy.
Thank you.
Mr. Fuentes, are you... Then the floor is now Mr. Fuentes.
Where are my folks? Yeah. Let's give the Spark of Love another big applause, colleagues. And Chief Terrazas, the Grand Marshal for the 2014 Pacoima Holiday Parade. Colleagues, I'm joined today with members of the 2014 Holiday Parade Committee for the Pacoima Holiday Parade. And it's a real pleasure to be here with these residents and citizens who have been doing so much, not just to make this parade a tremendous success, but to consistently deliver their respective services to the city of Los Angeles and the great community that is Pacoima. The committee is comprised of many people, including the Los Angeles Police Department, Pacoima Beautiful, Pacoima Neighborhood Council, First 5 LA, and Ms. Martinez, our Arleta Neighborhood Council, has also joined our committee, as well as the Valley Economic Development Corporation, VEDC. This year we celebrate the 47th annual Pacoima Holiday Parade. This parade, colleagues, really is the heart and soul of parades in the Northeast San Fernando Valley. We do have a fantastic Veterans Parade, but the outpouring of support, the people that come to see one another celebrate the holidays is incredible. And it all takes place in Pacoima on Van Nuys Boulevard, a great street in Los Angeles between Haddon Avenue and Herrick Avenue.
This parade is one of the longest running parades in the San Fernando Valley and in the Northeast Valley in particular. This year's theme is the Through the Eyes of Our Community, which is fitting for the fact that we have more than 80 entries this year, including elementary schools, high school marching bands. We consciously moved the parade date because we always competed with the all-city high school marching band contest, and this year we're going to be able to accommodate our very own high schools. This year's Grand Marshal, as I mentioned to you all, is none other than our very own newly appointed Chief for the Fire Department, Ralph Terrazas. We have an exciting lineup of parade participants that include actors and homegrown talent as well, like Danny Trejo, also known to many of you as Machete, Emilio Rivera, Jacob Vargas, and many, many others. Here with me today is a group of individuals who are leading the committee. They're working around the clock as we're getting close to the start time of the parade, preparing for Saturday's fantastic event. With me today, I've got Pastor Carl Cruz. He is the head of the Pacoima Chamber of Commerce, Pastor Cruz. And we also have with us from representatives from the Pacoima Neighborhood Council, as well as Romero Estrada from VEDC, and our very own Sergeant Harold Egger from LAPD. There's no better way to celebrate with community participation, colleagues, and there certainly isn't a better way to do that at the end of the year with a good old-fashioned parade. Give them a big round of applause. Pastor Cruz.
Yeah, it's a big honor to undertake the project that we've had for the last 47 years, and I'm really grateful to really work alongside with Felipe Fuentes. He's very supportive, and I couldn't look forward to working with a better councilman than him. And so I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be able to work in the community and see our kids, have a great event this year. So, thank you for the support, and hopefully to see some of you guys there. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Ramiro Estrada, and I'm here on behalf of BEDC. Just to let you know that the Chamber is always getting sponsors, and BEDC is one of them, and as well as the city and all of the elected officials. I'd like to invite all of you. Thank you for this presentation.
Hi and good morning. My name is Angie Castro, and I'm a local community organizer in District 7 and also a big part of the Chuchas in organizing for our community. So I was very thankful to be part of the committee for this parade, and we look forward to having all of you join us on Saturday. Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Labange, do you enjoy parades?
I love parades, and when I was at Water and Power, we were in that parade.
Very good. Do you enjoy public safety?
I love public safety.
Very good. With that, we've got a resolution on the President's orders to the Los Angeles Police Department. Sergeant Egger. Give them a big round of applause.
Sergeant Egger.
We got another resolution for the Pacoima Chamber of Commerce.
Pacoima Chamber of Commerce.
And the last resolution, colleagues, is for the Valley Economic Development Corporation, because we're building a strong economy, revitalizing Pacoima, and having fun doing it with this fantastic parade. Big round of applause.
Good job there.
All righty.
Thank you for your leadership. It takes a band leader. Good job. A drum major. A councilman. All right. We're to you, Mr. Clerk. What do we got before us? Mr. Kokorian, Chairman of the Powerful Finance Committee, there's items on closed session. Could you give a briefing to the council members at open session what we need to do?
Yeah, all of those matters are routine at this point, Mr. President, and can be resolved in open session unless members have questions or concerns.
Okay, members, any questions on those briefings?
I guess item 36.
36 you want to go in closed.
Will need to be heard in closed session. The others can be voted on now.
Mr. Clerk?
Very good, sir. Those would be items 37 through 39. For item 37, in the case entitled Adam Driscoll versus City of Los Angeles, there's a recommendation to expend $360,000 in settlement. For item 38, in the case entitled Christina Koch versus City of Los Angeles, there's a recommendation to expend $2.625 million in settlement. And for item 39, in the case entitled Irvin Broughton versus City of Los Angeles, there's a recommendation to expend $150,000 in settlement.
Very good. Let's take it up. No speakers on the queue. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Forthwith on those matters. It's requested by the city attorney. We have to reconsider item number 9. Let's vote on reconsideration. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
13 ayes. Now it's before us. Cards. So we're going to call cards right here. Marion Dodge, followed by Bruce Kuiper. And Mr. Dion, please, O'Connell, make a statement. City Attorney.
Mr. President, this is just a reminder to the council members. This is just a reminder to the council members that this is a fair hearing matter requiring the council members' heightened attention to the speaker at the podium or at their monitors at their desks.
Good morning, council members. The Federation of Hillside and Canyon Associations, representing 44 homeowner residents associations spanning the Santa Monica Mountains, supports Mr. Kuiper's appeal of the approval of the small lot subdivision, which is inconsistent with the Bel Air Beverly Crest Community Plan. It is not a by right project because of the tract map. The community plan states the open and natural character of the single-family development of the Bel Air Beverly Crest community is desirable and deserving of public protection. Preservation of low-density single-family residential areas and the conservation of open lands. The conditionally approved small lot subdivision does not conform to the Bel Air Beverly Crest Community Plan. It also does not conform to the small lot subdivision design guidelines with respect to massing, privacy, open space, and setbacks, especially at this sensitive hillside location. The Hillside Federation believes that the proposed construction of 5 townhomes with minute space between each building, located in an area designated by the city as a high fire severity zone within a neighborhood of 1- and 2-story single-family homes, will negatively impact the neighborhood and ultimately alter the character of the community to its detriment. The Hillside Federation therefore urges you to uphold the policies of the Bel Air Beverly Crest Community Plan by granting the appeal and directing the applicants to design a project that is compatible with the surrounding community. Thank you.
Next speaker.
Good morning, honorable council members. I'm Bruce Kuiper. I'm the appellant. I live 4 lots away from this proposed development. This proposed development is to remove a 60-year-old single-family 1-story house that's surrounded by 1- and 2-story single-family houses with a small lot subdivision. When the developer chooses to do a small lot subdivision, and this is the error that the Area Planning Commission made, was thinking that this is a by right project. It's not a by right project. The California Subdivision Map Act applies, and the tentative tract has to comply with state law. State law requires that the tract be consistent with the Bel Air Beverly Crest Community Plan. All that was done by planning and approved by the Area Planning Commission was to look at the color coding of the density of areas on the community plan map. It did not address any of the text of the community plan about preserving and enhancing the positive characteristics of existing uses. This is an existing single-family home. Massing and height, limiting land use intensity, and maintaining land use densities to the lowest reasonable level. None of that aspect of the text of the community plan was analyzed. They just looked at the color-coded map and said, oh, it's zoned for it. Lastly, the CEQA analysis was grossly deficient in even analyzing. There was no analysis of the cumulative effect of other projects. This is close to the 405 project. We have a 22-unit apartment building at the very end of the other block, and also there have been some recent past projects that weren't considered at all in the CEQA analysis. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your comment. No speakers on the queue. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
13 ayes. Thank you. Next item. Item 12, special, by Mr. Buscaino of the 15th District.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, this item before you is set to memorialize the intersection of North Gaffey and Capitol as DeCarlo Square. DeCarlo Bakery was an institution in the San Pedro area for many, many, many years and had a rich history and significant economic contributions to San Pedro and the Southern California economy. DeCarlo Bakery gained a reputation for being exceedingly generous to its employees, customers, and the San Pedro community. DeCarlo's Bakery employed mostly San Pedro residents, many of whom worked for their company for their entire careers due to the high wages, large pensions, health insurance packages, and overall the family atmosphere. And unlike most businesses, the DeCarlo's family encouraged families to work for them. As a result, members of multiple generations could be found working side by side at the bakery. But not only the family continued to make significant contributions to the economy, they also had a generous heart. And in so, they dedicated a portion of their property to Eastview Little League for $1 a year for 43 years. 600 Little Leaguers would play at the site until the bakery shut down in May of 2004. The site today is home of one of the newest Targets in the region. But in recognition of the DeCarlo family contribution and the service to the city, it's appropriate that we honor the DeCarlo family by naming the intersection of North Gaffey and Capitol DeCarlo Square. And joining us here in the John Ferraro Chambers is both Peter and John DeCarlo. And we're going to have a big celebration once we unveil this. So I ask for your aye vote, and I want to thank the family for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Buscaino, and thank you as a council member for identifying very special families that have great history. I'm speaking now from where John Ferraro sat for many years, and I know if he was here today, he would absolutely vote yes, and he would absolutely have a big smile. Peter, thank you and your brother and your whole family. So no speakers on the queue. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That's what John used to do. 13 ayes. So ordered forthwith. Next item. 28, Mr. Clerk. 28. All right, we're going to move a report here on, is this 28? Mr. Price, will you move your committee report? If you don't move yours, I'll move mine, but I'm going to vote for yours.
So move. Mr. President, I'd like to move that report.
Okay, we move the committee report, the substitute, trade and tourism. Is that correct? Mr. Clerk, we're going to move.
They do a wonderful job, and we want to keep doing it. Mr. President.
We're going to vote on EDC. TCC, we could receive and file. Is that the correct process?
Yes,
we
sir.
Reviewed
if it's
it.
Council's wish.
Okay, good, super. But we're going to go with the Mr. Price's committee for the wonderful job that Los Angeles Tourist does.
So again, an aye vote would be to adopt the recommendations of the Economic Development Committee report and to receive and file the Trade, Commerce, and Tourism Committee report.
Without prejudice. Very good. Okay. No speakers on the queue. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
13 ayes. Forthwith on that. Forthwith. Thank you, Mr. Price, for your leadership. Mr. Price, thank you. Next item. $34. Call in Mr. Herman to the microphone on a card. got to speak now, Mr. Herman.
In the reward offering by the City of Los Angeles, how many of you residents in the City of Los Angeles have read of this process of rewards for a gain to those families who lost a loved one? Yes. How many of you have read reports, other than Mr. Koretz, that the city paid less than this $50,000 information leading to the identification and apprehension if you are caught and convicted for the responsibility of murder and the life taking away of someone's loved one? So Jeffrey Dale, on May 30th, 2014, did not want to die in the city of Los Angeles, I'm sure. And so as we assemble in the city of Los Angeles, we're reminded of the violence and the attention by our public officials as reminders that you are not safe in Los Angeles if you can only offer a small award of $50,000. Because it's obvious that the warring gangs out exceeds your expectations to fight crime and wage the war against the responsible deaths caused by people who take lives.
Thank you. Mr. Walsh, did you speak already? Please come forward. John Walsh.
John Walsh at HollywoodHighlands.org. You know, you could offer $50 million and no one's going to accept the reward and give you the information. And there are plenty of people who know who killed Jeffrey Dale because it would be a suicide, sure suicide. Remember, snitches get stitches. Remember, the gang culture says you are not allowed. You pretend there are no gangs. You pretend that there are no Crips and Bloods. But they're there. I don't know if they're responsible for this one, but I know that you have now outstanding over $12 million in rewards. And no one is going to slit their own throat by claiming one of these rewards and giving you the information when it's a South LA murder. Maybe if every once in a while someone gets hit and run on the west side and someone comes up with information. I'm telling you right now, see the T-shirt with the bloody straight razor. Snitches get stitches.
Okay, give me. Okay, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Let's go to item 1. Okay, there's Mr. Walsh, Mr. Herman, and I can't make out this other name. 20147 is the address, and I'll try to figure it out. Okay, Mr. Walsh, go ahead.
Okay, John Walsh, blogging at Hollywood Highlands. This is 1A, 20147 West Strathern. You have a lien on this person's property of $7,648.62. It's nonsense. It's incredibly high. It's not and watch what happens now. Because this person had the sense to come down here and complain about it, you're going to erase it. You're going to call over his city council aide to the side, and the money will be either slashed or completely removed, because anybody who watches this knows no one comes down here and complains about a lien twice. If you're smart enough to come down here and smart enough to complain, these liens are outrageously high, and there's no basis in fact on most of the liens For the lazy people who didn't come down there for the liens, too bad. To protest, HollywoodHighlands.org.
Okay, next, or is it Mr. Malhai? Come on. Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm the owner of the property on 20147 Strathern Street. I wanted to explain why I hadn't responded in a timely manner. I had health problems, and I did not know that there were violations on the property. I bought some paperwork to show you that I actually, at that time, I had actually lost a property in the tax assessor's auction because I hadn't paid the property taxes. So I don't know if that's proof showing you that I wasn't ignoring the building and safety documentations. I wasn't unable to respond to anything.
Okay, let me interrupt you for a moment. I'm going to ask you to see that tall gentleman right there in the grayish colored suit. He represents the area where your property is located. Maybe you talk to them, and then let's see what they decide to do. So the gentleman is right there. He is a representative from the council district that your property's in. So if you talk to him, see him right over there?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and Mr. Herman.
Another sign of bad times in Los Angeles. Ho, 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 Mr. Bloomfield. When it comes to the objections of citations, wouldn't you have a little apathy and consideration to this poor gentleman's condition and situation brought upon the city of Los Angeles for the liens? In order for due process to actually do something in benefit of the public? So I say to all the residents of Los Angeles, when the situation of a lien gets out of hand, come here and protest and object against the amount of a merely sum at 2147 West Strathern Street in CD3 for $7,648.62 and change. Ho, ho, ho. I really hope you have a heart, Mr. Bloomfield. I hold my time to that 1 minute.
Thank you. Okay, let's prepare. I don't have another card. Did you? But did you turn in a card? Well, here, will you just state your name for the record?
I'm Salvador Mora, the owner of 1110 Stanford Avenue. The reason that none of those were paid, I thought they were paid by the tenant at the time when the ticket was given to me. And then I got no further information until recently with this letter and the lien of $4,639. I mean, that's way excessive. I didn't even know I didn't get the first one. I mean, I got the first one, but he was paid. I thought he had paid it, the tenant at the time. Now I got this, and I'm trying to just deal with it. I mean, is there any way? I mean, just some kind
Well, why don't we handle this way? Maybe I can get the city clerk to help me out. We do not have the council representative from this area here today. Can I continue this until the beginning of January or something?
Yes, sir.
So what would be the, no applause, what would be the first available, maybe the second available date?
Okay.
Mr. Clerk.
Mr. President, that would put us at Wednesday, January 7.
Okay, so we're going to continue this item until January 7th at 10 o'clock. And we will try to get a message to the 8th Council District so that you can have a conversation with them. So, okay. All right, with that said, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let us... Bob, what did we...
Set to the second one in January, the same January 14th.
Okay, so it's January 7th. So we'll continue...
14th.
What was it? It was item 1A, and we'll continue 1B until January 7th?
14th.
1B was continued to January 7. I believe the councilman would like 1A continued to
Well,
January
you know what?
14,
Why don't,
sir.
do I have to do a revote? Let's make
No,
them
sir.
both the 14th.
You can do that without objection,
Okay,
sir.
so without objection, both of those items will return on the 14th of January.
Very good, sir.
Okay. Let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Mr. Fuentes, do I see him? You want to just roll item 6? Okay, let's do item 6 at this time. Public comment. I have Liliana Sanchez, Nina Royal, Deborah Ray. If you'd please come forward. Item number 6. In any order, you don't have to wait. In any order, whoever's closest, just identify yourself. Yes,
Hi, I'm Liliana Sanchez.
go right
and
ahead.
I'm reading right from the Community Impact Statement. The Sunland Tahunga Neighborhood Council and its Land Use Committee strongly urge the City Council to withhold TEFRA funding for the proposed Samoa Avenue Affordable Housing Project until the project is revised to address community concerns. As proposed, the project's design is insensitive to transitions between different land uses and physical differences in building heights and design in the neighborhood. Does not include primary entrances to the units facing the street and fails to integrate buried roof lines through the use of sloping roofs. Modulated building heights, gables, dormers, or other innovative architectural solutions. It does not conform to the city's walkability checklist and the citywide design guidelines. It is not located near or adjacent to the transportation transit hub. Also, the latest pro forma made available to the STNC and LUC indicates that project costs are significantly above the average for this geographical area and are unreasonable. Finally, the project is significantly underparked and will create parking congestion in this neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Miss Ray, maybe? Come right ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Deborah Ray, and I'm from the Sunland Tahunga area. What I wanted to point out to you was this particular project is proposed for a street that is already so inundated with parking problems that if you're driving down the street, only one car can pass at a time. And now we're talking about putting in a new project that has 48 units of 4 to 5 bedrooms each, which is going to be an additional two cars in minimum for each unit that's built. But more important than that, you guys are going to be voting today on whether to release these funds in order for this to go through. And it's required that there be a hearing. We have not had a public hearing about this. I think that what they're trying to do is count this, what's happening right here, right now, as the public hearing that's required for you guys to okay these funds. And we're saying it's unlawful. So please reconsider the vote today, and I encourage you, Mr. Fuentes, to put on hold this vote until we can actually have a public hearing. And your consideration on this will influence the entire vote. But we do need to hear about this. The community deserves a right to have a say in this. Thank you very much.
Miss Royal.
Good morning. My name is Nina Royal. I'm the treasurer and safety chair for the Sunland Tahunga Neighborhood Council, and I also sit on the Land Use Committee. And I want to check off everything that was already said before me. But I also want to tell you that I think that the 15 board members should come and take a look at this property, and you should see the street that it's located on. It's only 18 feet wide. There is no parking in the whole area. Around the corner is Bolton Hall, which we need for parking for activities there, but there's absolutely no parking lot, no nothing. Sunland Tahunga is park poor. That piece of property was promised by Wendy Gruhl to be a park, a much needed park in the most densest part of the whole community. We are not anti-affordable housing, but we want it to be sensible. That is in a region, or I should say a neighborhood, that it will be an eyesore coming from all the way up the street because of the height of the building and the size of the building, that is coyote ugly and looks like a penitentiary. Like I said before, we're not against affordable housing, but it has to be sensible. There is no sense to this whatsoever, and it's a waste of taxpayer money. And you can bet that 4 and 5 bedroom apartments are going to be utilized by more than one family. Because it's a SB 1818 project, there is not adequate parking. So please take this into consideration. If you do not okay these funds, that project will not be built on that street. It belongs on Foothill Boulevard or in some other community. A property that size does not belong in that neighborhood. Please come and take a look at it before you make a decision.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs, Mr. Walsh, Mr. Herman. Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. Good morning, Arnold Sachs. And I take exception to 2 phrases in this item. One, that it calls this an affordable housing project, which means that it will fall outside the bounds of rent control. Because if a project is labeled as affordable housing, there's no rent control necessary for to be put in place. And then the other part of this that I object to is including bonds issued to refund such revenue bonds that you want to issue. And this is a little standard operation that the city does where they issue the bonds, down the highway, they issue a refund, like a second mortgage on the same bonds that continues the payment on the original bonds, the structural part of the bill. And the difference that is created from the original payment to the second payment isn't used to pay off any debt. It's used to pay for pay raises.
Thank you. Mr. Walsh, I think Mr. Walsh has how much time? 1 minute, followed by Mr. Herman, and Mr. Herman has 1 minute as well.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. I'm sure that many of the city councilmen here in lower income neighborhoods would love to get these housing bonds for their area, $15 million. It doesn't make any sense in an upper middle class neighborhood to put in affordable housing, as they said, so-called low income housing. And they said it. They don't have cars. They're isolated. It is absurd. And incidentally, also, as far as the $15 million investment of the city in bonds, what is the investment that you had at Da Vinci? You put money into Da Vinci and then $10 million conflagration. Anytime there's revenue bonds, I'm telling you right now, the only reason that this is happening is that the councilman is getting a piece of the action. Each one of you is getting a piece.
Stay
of
on
the piece of the revenue bonds action. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Mr. Herman. 1 minute.
Da Vinci, is it sensible that we continue to build affordable housing projects that super exceed our neighborhoods? Yes. Mansionization, for what purpose? It's not sensible, Mr. Fuentes, and we all know that. The people in the community deserve better. The issue with density and parking has always been a long problem with the city of Los Angeles. And if you're going to flood our residential streets with more parking issues, then fix our damn streets. It's very simple.
Stay on the subject.
The bonds money should only and always be for the project in mind at the Tahunga, California, located in the 4200 zip code. And I'm not going to reiterate what the first young lady there mentioned. She's right. every point she talked about was correct. So let's not take advantage of the public, leave the bonds alone, and do city business.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fuentes.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. Thank you for your attention on this matter. It's actually a very, very important thing that we're doing here today, because we are approving the financing for an affordable housing project. And the City of Los Angeles, my chair, Mr. Cedillo, and we've been aided recently by Mr. O'Farrell, we understand that we have an absolute crisis in housing in the City of Los Angeles. And what makes it more difficult is to cite these types of projects. And what we do in government is we try to facilitate the citing of these projects by figuring out how to finance them so that we can maintain a certain level of affordability. That's precisely what this project does. But I want to address some things that my residents testified to, and I'm fairly certain that some of you all are familiar with the project. So I just want to, for the record, reiterate exactly what is happening here, colleagues. This project was proposed to be a much larger project, and it was approved in January 9th of 2012, and it became effective on January 20th of 2012. What happened then was the owner of the project sold it. And as a result of that sale, in order for it to be able to work, the new owner, then modified the project, reduced the unit count. And in fact, they reduced it so much so that they withdrew their density bonus. They withdrew the number of units into 48. So as a result of those reductions, this project became a by right project, thereby making it so that the City of Los Angeles no longer in its newest form would have any discretion over the type of project. The only thing that's before us, colleagues, is whether we should finance affordable housing projects in the City of Los Angeles or not at this moment. So with that, I would encourage you all to support the production of quality units. I'd support the projects like this, and where we do have discretion, I would ask members of my community as well as any other in Los Angeles that we work together to figure out how to fashion the best possible project. And this one is one that's by right, and it's important. So I hope that we can support the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Let us prepare members to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay. Let's move into closed session at this point. So if we could clear the council chambers, sergeants, we will move into closed session. Please let us know. So anyone that's in the council, please leave. Sergeants, help us out here. We have to clear the council in order to go into closed session. back? Okay, now we're back in open session. We're going to take up item 10 at this point in time. Mr. O'Farrell.
What's Brian's last name? Okay.
We're taking up item 10. Do you want me to, can I have Cultural Affairs come to the center table?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. So stepping forward is Danielle Brazel, our General Manager of Cultural Affairs Department, our Assistant GM, Matthew Rudnick. We also have from the CLA's office, Andrea Galvin and Brian Rendell. Oh, and also Felicia Filer.
Well, hopefully we won't need all of you on this. But
No.
In case.
So, Mr. O'Farrell.
So, colleagues, as many of you are well aware, as everyone is well aware, since 2007, the arts fees, the arts development fee, they have been frozen for 7 years. The arts development fee ordinance was established in 1988. I introduced a motion along with my colleague Jose Huizar in July of 2013, which was actually, I think it was the second full week that we actually met as a new council. And this item had been cooking for a while, this issue. The motion brought the CLA, City Attorney, the Department of Cultural Affairs together to discuss the statutes, the unexpected arts development fees, the expenditure plan development for projects located in all the council districts, as well as use and expenditure of funds, administrative guidelines, which they're going to present, and they will provide a framework for the implementation of the arts development fee. As you just heard, a good portion of those fees would have expired in 3 very short weeks, but we have a little window, and we have a plan wherein we can actually allocate $1.7 million for the arts in Los Angeles. From here, the Department of Cultural Affairs will meet with the council districts, and they've already been doing that, to discuss and develop the expenditure plan for the balances that do not require council to make findings at this time. Also, the department will meet annually with council districts to discuss expenditure plans, which will be transmitted to the City Council for approval. What we have done is create a system that will help use the arts development fee to serve its intended original purpose. So along with the CLA report, we'll hear about the administrative guidelines, and all that said, we have our presenters today. So please, take the floor.
Okay, before you start, Mr. Huizar?
I can do it after.
Okay. So now the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, Andrea Galvin with the CLA's office. Council instructed our office with the assistance of various city departments and in consultation with the city attorney to report with recommendations to update the process for collecting and dispersing funds relative to the arts development fee, which had been previously limited to a 1-block radius surrounding the development from which the fees were generated. Our office has since worked with the city attorney and city stakeholders to define new parameters, and as previously discussed, the city attorney determined and has concluded that as long as a reasonable relationship between the development and the project is demonstrated, and that the services are available to future development employees, the funds can be used. The recommendations in the committee report include approval of the revised arts development fee guidelines and expenditure plans for funds based on these new guidelines. The department is here to expand on the purpose of these recommendations.
Great, wonderful. I'm Danielle Brazel. I'm the General Manager of the Department of Cultural Affairs. And before I begin, I want to just begin by thanking Councilmember O'Farrell and his staff for their leadership on this issue, as well as Councilmember Huizar and Cedillo, and the entire members of the Arts, Parks, Health, Aging, and River Committee. I also want to thank Controller Ron Galprin and his staff for shining a light on the challenges that the Arts Development Fee Program has had and for his collaboration along the way. Councilmember Martinez and the Audits Committee for their deep dive review of this issue. The City Attorney's Office for working closely with the department on this matter and their willingness to be flexible and in the solution, as well as the CLA for their great work and analysis. This is a team effort, and it would not have happened without everyone working together. So the items that we have before you represent a collective fix for long-standing programs on the Arts Development Fee paid-in program. And proposed and presented for your consideration and approval are new administrative guidelines which have been reviewed and approved by the city attorney that provide a more flexible parameter for the use of the arts development fee, which will drastically improve the administration of these resources. And that means that you'll see an impact of arts and an increased activation of arts throughout the city, and in particular in council offices and districts throughout Los Angeles. In addition, the department is asking for council's approval on the expenditure plan that we have put in place for fees that need to have findings made before the end of this calendar year. And that's roughly about $1.7 million in arts fees, which will be proposed throughout the city. And again, my team and my staff have done an incredible job working with each and every one of your offices and making sure that the fees and the projects that are being committed today really represent the depth and breadth and authenticity that you want to bring to your particular community. And I want to acknowledge this incredible team, Felicia Filer, our public art director, and Mr. Matthew Rudnick, our assistant general manager, in really doing the deep dive on these projects. This marks really the first step in relaunching this important program, and the Department of Cultural Affairs looks forward to continuing to working with each and every one of you on supporting dynamic arts and cultural activities in your neighborhoods and communities. We're here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you so much.
Mr. Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President. And this is something that the whole city family could be proud of, to look at this and allow to once again move in a direction for the city of Los Angeles to show that we do certainly support art and support public art. And first and foremost, I want to thank Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell for your work and your leadership. I recall when you first started and you wanted to work on this and your passion for this, and that is truly appreciated. You know, we introduced this motion a month before Council approved our effort to end the 11-year moratorium on murals on private property here in the city. And it was really a defining moment for the city, showing its support for public art. But at the same time, in working on that policy, we recognized and learned from the Department of Cultural Affairs, as well as from artists, that we were about to release the shackles that we had on our arts community with the new mural ordinance. We were still limiting them in practicing their craft with these unspent funds, and here we are fixing that. And as was noted earlier in closed session, we have some fixing to do as well for future funds, and how we're going to manage that and continue to move forward. But certainly this is a huge victory for the city and for the arts in the city of LA. And Danielle, I want to thank you and your team and your passion for this as well. As we move forward, there are other fees like the Quimby fees that we have to look at again, and we're doing that in the Plum Committee, and hopefully we could move in a direction that makes sense for everyone, and there as well as we have done here. But truly, different council members, departments, controller, everyone put their best foot forward to support the arts in the city. This is a day we could be proud of, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. O'Farrell is prepared to vote, unless you wanted to close.
Just lastly, I want to echo Jose Huizar. It's just great teaming with you on making this happen, and everyone at this table, the departments that you represent, the entire city family, the controller's office, city attorney's office, etc., it really is like the story of the ultimate collaboration for a cause that we all believe in so passionately. So that's really what made this happen. So I also want to thank my team for this, the countless hours over the last 13 months to get this thing forward. Really, unlocking these fees, colleagues, is going to result in art throughout the city that is going to be noticeable, copious. You'll be able to go out there and see it and touch it and live it because it's not an insubstantial amount. And so we're going to free that up, and we have a way moving forward so that we can improve the look, feel, culturally, the cultural fabric of all of our neighborhoods, and that's what art is all about. It will help transcend many difficulties, art should never be underestimated, the power that it has. And so I know that everyone at this table and everyone in this spirit of collaboration understands that at the very deep level. So in the interest of the city and the arts, I urge and I vote. Colleagues, thank you.
Okay, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
All right.
Forthwith.
Okay, what's before this body, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. President, that takes council to general public comment for items not on council's agenda.
Okay, I would like to call Mr. Sachs, Mr. Herman, Mr. Walsh. In fact, Mr. Walsh, please come forward. And Mr. Herman, I see you, so you can come next.
We protest. The public comment is 15 minutes, and you're giving us 1 minute apiece. There are only 3 people. That's your math. The most important thing is that the ATF is in town. They are now involved they pushed the LAPD and the LAFD aside. They've taken over the investigation. Ladies and gentlemen, I've said it to the police commission. I've said it to Commander Andrew Smith. What happened was an explosion at the Da Vinci buildings. It was a military-style operation. Come to my Twitter site and you'll find out. They exploded the building in 2 seconds under the nose of the fire department across the street. This was an act of terrorism. And if it wasn't an act of terror, you know what they're saying? 2 black homeless guys started the fire with some cardboard. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Thank you. Mr. Herman.
Angelenos, with 2015 general elections coming up, I'm pretty sure you're going to support Grace Yu, the 42-year-old who's running against no other than Mr. Herb Wesson. So with the redistricting of District 12 and 4th, I want you to be reminded that we need a Korean or an Asian on this board because the majority here outweighs the minorities. And so, again, the action of the burning was not a result of homeless people fanning a fire to keep warm. The real issue is the city of Los Angeles has done nothing positive to take the majority homeless people off our public sidewalk and streets and find them affordable housing. As you heard Mr. Fuentes speak about the 73 units in Tujunga.
Thank you. Thank you. Your time has expired. Mr. Sachs, I don't see him. That concludes general public comment for today's meeting. You're disrupting the meeting. Please be quiet as you exit. That brings us where, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. President, council has motions for posting and referral.
Okay, they're posted and referred.
The desk is clear.
Announcements, members. Mr. Labange.
Thank you very much, members. I just want to note, tomorrow night there's an open house at my Sherman Oaks field offices right on Ventura Boulevard, right at Stern. It will show the display of the Valley Times photograph, which was a newspaper that was from 1946 to 1970. I also asked my colleagues to send their deputies so they could see it, and at one time, working with the library and photo friends at the Los Angeles Central Library, you could have it in your district office as well. That's tomorrow evening. And also, the Zoo Lights is a big success. Please come to the zoo and enjoy the Holiday Light program. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Price?
President, I just want to invite neighbors and friends out to the District 9 Holiday Party and Toy Drive at our district office, 4301 Central Avenue. Festivities will begin about 6 o'clock. There will be music, food, and photos and fun. So we invite everyone to come out and join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Price. Mr. Buscaino.
It's an incredible tie, Mr. Price. Very festive. I think the tie of the month. I love it.
Wait, you know what? Before you start,
Want to get a close-up shot?
before you start, how many members, Mr. Clerk, our last day of council meeting this
16th,
month is that Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tuesday, sir. Tuesday the 16th.
Okay, so Mr. Buscaino brought up something.
Sorry I started this.
Yeah, you did. On Tuesday, those of us that are going to be here, wear your most colorful, most hideous, most weird-looking tie. So for those of you that are going to be here,
Kern, can I borrow yours?
Tuesday.
For Tuesday. I'm calling Kern Price's tie.
Tuesday is the day. This Tuesday.
I got dibs on Kern's tie.
And I will remind you guys, Tuesday.
Okay. Well,
yes,
in addition to the Great Ninth festivities tonight, tomorrow Watts will be celebrating Watts Winter Wonderland. 4 o'clock at the Watts Civic Center. Everyone's invited. And most importantly, we're going to join the Watts Gang Task Force, the Watts Clergy Council, in an effort to call for peace in our communities with an amazing effort with LAPD. We're going to create this peace circle with the community. So everyone's invited, 4 o'clock tomorrow at the Watts Civic Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Buscaino. And members, Tuesday, weirdest tie. Weirdest tie. Mr. Labange, you could loan ties to everyone. Mr. Weezer, for an announcement.
Yes, and Fuentes just told me he wants to go through Price's closet before that day, too. So, no, lots of announcements, lots of things happening. First and foremost, if anyone is interested in the fire that happened here in downtown in the Department of Aging, a neighboring building at Fig Plaza, the Department of Aging was preparing some bags for needy seniors for Christmas. The mayor's office is collecting through his mayor's foundation funds to replace those bags. My office is donating $1,000, and if anyone is interested in supporting that effort. Secondly, our Highland Park Christmas tree lighting has been rained out. We are moving that to Sunday at 6 o'clock at the Highland Park Senior Center. And this Saturday, the traditional Miracle on First Street at Hollenbach Youth Center, we have a toy giveaway at 8 a.m. on Saturday. 9 a.m. So Cedio's been going there as a kid, and he still goes there every... I'm serious. He remembers. He knows. He follows this. And on Sunday in El Sereno, Saturday in El Sereno, we will have our annual toy giveaway, Winter Wonderland, on Huntington Drive. Starts at 2 o'clock. I invite everyone in that area to go if you would like to enjoy some champurrado, tamales, anything else. And if you want some specially made menudo by me, I will make it for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Cedillo, for an announcement?
Yes, I wanted to reiterate the Miracle on First Street. It's the 33rd annual Miracle on First Street, and I think it's a great tribute. Mr. Buscaino talked about this circle of love that they're trying to create. Well, that circle's been going on down on First Street for 33 years. It launched the career of Arnold Schwarzenegger. It has laid out a basis for many people to come. Olympic champions have come out of this boxing center that's part of this community center, the Hollenbach Youth Center. And so it's a great place for everybody to join us this Saturday at 9 a.m. I'll be there bright and early, passing out toys and participating in the parade. Our new sheriff will be the Grand Marshal.
Oh, wonderful.
And so I want to welcome everybody to First and Boyle, First and State Street. First and State.
First in Cummings, Chicago.
First in Cummings, one block over. First in Cummings and First in Chicago on 9 a.m. Saturday, Hollenbach Youth Center, under the leadership of Danny Hernandez.
Thank you. Members, any additional announcements, Mr. Cedillo?
I wanted to make sure that I noted that on Saturday we will also have the Echo Park Holiday Parade, and that will follow at 11 a.m. in Echo Park.
Mr. Labange?
Since you mentioned the Echo Park Parade at 9:30, before the parade join Mr. O'Farrell and myself for the 110th anniversary of the Silver Lake Dam Reservoir Complex. Thank you, Mr.
Okay. Now, if I could ask everyone in the chambers to please rise for adjourning motions. Please rise. I'm going to look to my left first, which would be Mr. Buscaino.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I ask that we rise and adjourn in memory of Richard Sapanic, who passed away peacefully this week at his home, surrounded by his loved ones. He was born in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and loved to fish. He was a 20-year veteran, Army veteran, former U.S. steel worker and U.S. postal worker. He worked hard for his family, taught his daughter Barbara how to fish, and Barbara is a dear friend who is the executive director of the Democratic Municipal Officials. He also loved to work with tools, and together with Barbara, his daughter, they enjoyed baseball games and stock car races. He was a loving husband, father, and grandfather. He was a gentle, caring, reliable man who gave his family a stable and love-filled life. Services will be private. Mr. Sapanic donated his body to science, and his ashes will be spread in a memorial garden at a later date. You can honor his memory with the donation to the Wounded Warrior Project, woundedwarriorproject.org. He is survived by his loving wife, children, Barbara, Moore, Pam, Donna, and Rick. May Richard Sapanic rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you. So any other adjourning motions on my right side? Now, Mr. Price.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that we adjourn in the memory of Lark Galloway Gilliam, who passed away December the 1st with complications from a long illness. As the founder of the Community Health Councils, Ms. Gilliam worked hard with lawmakers, corporate executives, and residents to tackle institutional problems that have plagued the South LA area for a long time. She helped to cultivate the next generation of activists by hosting workshops to teach residents on how to protect their community. In 1975, Ms. Gilliam earned her undergraduate degree in biology from UCLA. She went on to USC for her master's and doctorate degrees in public administration. She formed community health councils after discovering that the healthcare establishments that were burned to the ground and after the 1972 uprising were owned by outsiders and who were out of touch with the community. Through her nonprofit, she secured millions of dollars in federal and state grants to study community issues, including the problems associated with too many fast food outlets and not enough grocery stores. Her immediate survivors include a daughter, 2 sisters, and 2 brothers. Arrangements are pending, but may God rest her peace.
And Mr. Price, I already have the adjourning motion and signed, so at least one of us or you should
Thank you, Mr.
make
President.
sure that we're there. She was a fine lady, fine advocate, did a lot of wonderful things, and she was very persistent and had a knack for changing people's opinion on things. I know she got me a couple of times, and
me too.
So she was a good one, and her heart was about as pure as it gets. Any more adjourning? Mr. Lamont.
Thank you very much, member. This is very sad. A young person, a young mother, just in her 50s, Laura Sue Fedler Harpatner, who was passed away November 28th after a short bout with cancer. She was the chief of holistic medicine at Cedars-Sinai. She grew up here in Los Angeles and went to UC Santa Barbara, and later got her medical degree at the University of Guadalajara. She was a firm believer in holistic medicine, and she was nationally recognized for specializing in primary care, pediatrics, etc. She took great part in creating the Center for Natural Family Medicine, where patients could come and resolve their sound counsel and medical issues that they had with staff. She wrote hundreds of articles and gave interviews and published 3 books, having one come just this past June. She was survived by her son Ilion and Quentin and her loving husband Renee, who she met on her first trip to Europe, like in 1980, by a freak accident of being an empty chair on a European rail car. And in the Mass at St. Brendan's, they spoke about how life is, and you have the chance meeting. And she was much loved by people. It was a packed church who saluted her for all the work she went straight to heaven. And we adjourn in her memory, Laura Sue Fedler Harpater.
Thank you.
And also, Mr. President, I think
Yes.
it's fitting on this day to recognize that 50 years ago was the passing of Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke was one of the greatest singers of all time. He lived in Los Angeles, and he lived right behind the baseball field at John Marshall High at the time of his death on Ames, near where Dr. Taylor is, and you know the Taylor family at all. He was killed in Los Angeles in a very unfortunate situation. But for those who don't know who Sam Cooke is, listen to his music. It's the greatest singer, I believe, of all time. And furthermore, he was inspired by Bob Dylan's Blowing in the Wind to write A Time is going to change. Time's going to come and change. And Sam Cooke was truly a great American whose life was lost far too soon.
Change is going to come.
Change is going to come. Thank you very much.
He was a phenomenal singer, and I went to college with his daughter she was back in the cold weather with us for 1 year, and then I think she transferred back. So, great singer he was. Seeing no other adjourning motions, members, don't forget Tuesday, weird, hideous, colorful tie day, and this council meeting, and staff. All staff, we want to participate as well. All staff. With that said, this meeting's adjourned.